the issues that need to be addressed. At KBLA Talk 1580, we remain committed to curating conversations that matter to you. Thank you for your continued support. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. The station that sounds like the city looks.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DePrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DePrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580, good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. The show is First Things First. My first thing every day, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God, from the ancestors, from the elders. Let's go. Let's do this. Happy Friday, TGIF. I hope you know what we do around here, unless you're new, and then welcome in. This is the lay of the land. We do local, left coast, hour 1, hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest, or perhaps a hot topic. Typically in hour 1, and sometimes 2, I have a partner in politics. Today is my friend from the Fox Soul Pundit Circuit, also the owner, founder of ES Advisors, which is a public policy advisory, why can't I say that, company. And he's also worked on many a political campaign. Ed Sanders, good morning.
Dominique, good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Guess who's in our third hour today? You'll never guess.
I see I'm the opening act for Alicia Cooper.
You did. You must have been on social media. Yes, indeed. A comedian and filmmaker. Let's get the band back together.
She's going to be great. For anyone that hasn't followed her, take a moment, follow her on Instagram and Twitter. She performs locally all the time. Alicia is an up-and-coming comic.
I got to get out to see her. She is hilarious. And, of course, the second hour, we usually have freestyle phones, especially on Fridays, but you're invited in all the time, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. What's good, Ed Sanders? What inspiring victories or hopeful aspirations do you have going right now?
Just enjoying the summer. It's hot, so trying not to stay inside too long. But, got the Women's World Cup on. Those are some exciting games.
Oh, right. Soccer dad. How's that going? I haven't been watching. I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit of a... Yeah, I watch men's soccer. I haven't really watched women's soccer. I'm a bit of a sexist when it comes to soccer.
See, I'm a girl dad, so I got a young girl that plays, so I watch
heck yeah. I'd be watching it too.
It's fun, though. I mean, they got, Trinity Rodman, Dennis Rodman's daughter, and Sophia Smith, Kenny Smith's daughter.
Wow.
So there's some NBA ties to it, and just they're a talented group, fun to watch. They tied the other night, but still doing well in their group.
Talking about the U.S. team, of course, yeah. Well, maybe I'll watch some over the weekend now that you've given me that exciting backstory.
We always got to search for the Pan-African teams, too. That's really why we turn into it.
I mean, that's me watching the Men's World Cup. Look at Cameroon. They're so handsome. Look at Senegal. And the soccer is good, too. But anyway, yeah, I that's exciting. Okay, and here's a story that I was hoping you could bring some some clarity to, which is Bronny James having a cardiac arrest. And I know it's not the first time this has happened, but you think about these young, healthy, strong, talented people, and he's in a major program, so you assume they're following protocols and taking care of their athletes. How does this happen that he has a cardiac arrest?
It's to me, it's more it's more frequent than I think we give it context to. I think for a certain group, well, almost any group, but I know when I was growing up, there were several fatalities on the court that just sort of stuck with you. There was Reggie Lewis with the Boston Celtics who passed, and then obviously Hank Gathers for those of us in Los Angeles, and even more locally, I remember Kevin Copeland, a wide receiver at Dorsey High when he passed. It happens, I think, more often than we think. Bronny obviously is sort of the focus of the sports world, right? His father being LeBron James, he's going to have a lot of eyes on him. You would expect and hope that he had, the best health care available to him, and that if issues could have been detected, that they would have. But medical science isn't that perfect, right? You don't always get a perfect answer. So
I mean, they said the response was quite good, and that probably helped a lot. The emergency response was quick, but I hopefully he'll be fine. We've seen some athletes bounce back really well. I mean, you talk about fatalities, kind of makes your hair stand on end, but then some have these kind of incidents and bounce back. Are you hearing anything about, the prognosis for his future as a person and as an athlete?
I think he'll be back in sort of in quick fashion. I think if I'm remembering correctly, the young man that played for the Buffalo Bills, that Damar Hamlin, I think he's back in training camp this year.
Yeah, he is.
I don't know how similar the injury or the cardiac arrest or the degrees of that, but that he's cleared and is playing back in the NFL now is a good marker. For Bronny, I don't stand out to know what his future plans are. Everyone sort of assumes he'll get to the NBA and he and LeBron will get a chance to play, and that's sort of the design. I don't know that this throws that timeline off, but we'll see. We'll see. In the end game, I just hope he has a healthy recovery.
I get that people have a right to feel how they feel about, vaccines and COVID and all that. I'm not someone that wants to stifle or control your reaction, but I really thought it was pretty irresponsible of Elon Musk to tweet that he felt the vaccine was the cause of Bronny James's cardiac arrest, because he's not a doctor. He hasn't seen or analyzed LeBron James. So what is that based on?
Yeah, that was, look, folks can have different opinions on whether the vaccine was there to help or not. To me, from now on, you're going to get, if there's some unusual medical condition with someone, especially someone famous, someone like Musk is going to stand up and say it's because they took the vaccine, and the vaccine is going to be sort of this big boogeyman for the next 20 years.
And I get that myocarditis is actually a known side effect of the vaccine, especially in young people. But I see here in the Hill a Dr. Newswhite quoted as saying that cardiomyopathy is not the same as myocarditis. Okay, I'm not a doctor. That's above my pay grade right there. But if they're two different conditions, that seems even more dumb to tweet that.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, Elon Musk is just trying to get, likes and someone that actually go to Twitter or
Yeah,
whatever.
or
and drop
dislikes or
on there.
whatever. It's
Yeah.
not Twitter anymore, Ed. It's X. Get it
Yeah.
right.
Okay. I'll try to take a moment and learn that.
Not Malcolm X, SpaceX.
SpaceX. X will be gone in like 3 weeks. So I don't know if I'm going to take the time to remember that.
And why does the bird still show on my phone, even though the X shows on my laptop? I don't know. Anyway, we do have a lot to talk about today. There's so much going on here. More migrants coming to town on buses from Texas, and the Emmy Awards may be postponed. Well, it looks like they are postponed. We'll look at that and more when we come forward. It's Ed Sanders and Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Can you believe it's already back to school season? To get you ready, Chase is holding a family event at its Crenshaw Community Center branch on Wednesday, August 2nd from 4 to 8 p.m. We're giving away backpacks full of school supplies and other goodies to the first 1,000 attendees. There will be activities for the whole family, from financial health workshops to lawn games and crafts for all ages. Chase, we make your back-to-school dreams happen. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
What's up, LA? The Reparationist community got something real special going down in historic Leimert Park. August 12th, 2023, this event is sponsored by Reparations United and Black Pact, fighting for justice and empowering our community. Together, we can make moves. We have an insane lineup for y'all. The sultry Rotimi, the king of LA, The Game, smooth Eric Benet, and none other than the powerful sounds of blackness. Also, we have some special guests in the house. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, State Senator Stephen Bradford, LA's beloved Councilwoman Heather Hutt, and many more. They're bringing their passion and leadership to the stage. Mark your calendars, August 12th, 2023, Leimert Park. Let's come together, support each other, and make a difference. Peace, love, and reparations benefit concert and unity rally. Be there or be left out. Produced by Tara Perry of Black Pact and Cam Howard of Reparations United.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Find special savings on top brands like DeWalt. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt impact driver or drill for just $99 each. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members will earn 3 times the bonus points when shopping the Pro Zone. Shop in-store and online today. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. DeWalt offer valid 7/17 through 8/2. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 7/28. Subject to change.
Hosting a barbecue is a breeze, but managing my frequent heartburn, that was a lot more work. I would chew up to 10 antacids in one day. Now I take just one Prilosec OTC, and my heartburn is blocked for a full 24 hours. Just one Prilosec OTC a day gives me one-and-done heartburn relief, so I can go back for seconds on my world-famous burgers.
Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, could potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, talking with my friend, the founder of ES Advisors, and also Girl Dad, Ed Sanders. Man, so much going on here locally. You know, the mayor was in on Tuesday. We have a new segment called Mornings with the Mayor. She's going to be in once a month to talk to me about what's going on in LA. And she spoke on a bus full of migrants that had come in, I think it was Monday or Sunday over the weekend, 44 folks. Another one yesterday with 36. This is the 6th group sent to California by Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, who I'm guessing he must be planning to run for president. And, you know, it's 23 adults, 13 children, and they just, dump them here. It's a political stunt, but I feel like that should be illegal. It's like kidnapping, transporting children across state lines, moving people around under false pretenses. How do you see this?
I mean, obviously a political stunt, but I try not to curse when I talk about Abbott. Is as despicable as he is for loading a group of migrants, and families onto a bus to sort of transport them across the world to make political hay. This is also the same guy that is out pushing the book bans in the schools. He and DeSantis in Florida have this very particular brand of politics that, in light of the Supreme Court's decision, they really are sort of the face of this rebranded form of oppressive hate that's in politics.
Yeah.
And the putting people on a bus and sending them to California is just one tactic. Taking books from authors that we hold as beloved and banning them from, kids in Texas from being able to read them is there's a special place in the afterlife for folks like that.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I don't know if you guys read Harry Potter. I know it's kind of out of style right now because the writer is anti-trans, apparently. But it's very Slytherin to me. It's just like it's so like just mean. It's mean and mean-spirited, that brand of politics that you're talking about. Let's take away women's rights to choose and, call it states' rights. Let's attack trans people and call it protecting children. Let's ban books and call that protecting children. It's just very cynically evil in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean that's and look, we've been pushing back on this style of politics for forever and a day, but I think clearly since Donald Trump won the presidential election, you've got sort of the face of that. It's always been sort of an undercurrent in the Republican Party. You can go back to even the Newt Gingrich takeover. You see those elements there, but now it's just on full display.
Yeah, right. Now they don't even try to be slick. They're just like, we hate you, black people, gay people, women. We just hate you, and that's okay. Yeah. But, I think I always, when I go down that rabbit hole, I always try to remember that we are making progress in other areas. It seems like people are more conscious that, which is why there's a war on wokeness. I mean, we are making some strides. Hey, we didn't talk about this, but right when I said war on wokeness, it reminded me about the Barbie movie. Have you seen the Barbie movie yet, Ed? Did you take your babies to see? Oh, okay, not yet.
No, I can't. I can't do that.
You can and you will.
Well, you have to convince me why. I mean,
I haven't seen it yet. I'm just talking smack because everyone's loving it. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's why.
It's just a brand that
yeah, it's Barbie.
Know. It's a brand that I didn't grow up. I'm not a Barbie doll guy.
Barbie or Ken, right? Those, yeah, well, I'm sure you're not a lot of things guy that you do with your, kids. I mean, I was never a Barney girl, but when my kid was into Barney, I was into Barney. Yeah.
They tried, but it was, when Barbie started, it was the blonde hair, blue eye. This is the ideal of fashion.
Right.
And this is the ideal of beauty. And,
yeah.
I'm black. My mom's black. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You got to really, really make a case for me to go see it.
No, I'm not the one because I wasn't a Barbie girl either. I preferred the troll dolls. I think the Barbies represented to me like that unattainable and unfriendly standard of beauty. So I was not a Barbie girl. That said, people are saying it's, empowering and it's a new spin, and Ted Cruz hates it, which makes me want to go see it. I know
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
immature
I
of
don't
me,
know.
but.
Ted Cruz and I might actually agree on something.
All right, just
The world
curious.
turns.
Girl dad doesn't go that far, huh?
Nah, not at
Wow.
all.
All right. Well, I don't blame you. I mean, you gotta pick your moments. So yeah, the Emmy Awards might be postponed. It's a hot labor summer. We've got actors on strike, writers on strike, hotel workers on strike. Looks like UPS is not going to strike. Looks like the Teamsters have a deal on the table that they'll be voting on next month. So that could be, I'm hoping that could add momentum to other workers, and, motivate other companies to do the right thing. Um, what do you think? I mean, do you think that's the right move for Fox to postpone the Emmys? It seems like there's been a lot of high profile support for actors and writers. I love that Dwayne The Rock Johnson gave more than $1 million. I love, seeing the high profile actors out on the picket line, even though they are not the ones that need the strike. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, solidarity in the labor movement is one of those core principles that helps workers find their value in this economy, right? Like, and you need allies in this, and whether you are a Teamster or a hotel worker, a writer, you need allies across the labor movement. And, that's what you're seeing with the Emmy Awards. And so, from the direction on where to stay in terms of guest hotels to the crews that actually produce the Emmys.
What hotels?
Those are all
Yeah.
labor unions.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Not only that,
and
so it was planned for September 18th, and they're supposed to be announcing today or tomorrow that's going to move to January. So I wonder if that means that, Fox, which is behind the Emmys, if they know something we don't know about how long. I mean, we've heard in Deadline magazine that, an anonymous executive saying they're not even going to start negotiations till October because they want the writers to bleed out and start losing their homes before they start to negotiate in earnest.
Yeah, I think they have to throw a marker down for the planning purposes, right? I mean, you've got, because after January, what do you have after that? I think you've got
Oscars.
Oscars in February,
right, and
you
Grammys,
think I know this
and
stuff, right? They start rolling off, and you get into Super Bowl weekend, and so those weekends are sort of tapped in the early part of the year. I think they've got to throw down a date and just sort of set it and hope. I don't know that there's any sort of hope or negotiation ploy there other than, look, we got to get this done so that, I don't think that a deal is going to get done because the Emmys are, coming up.
I mean, and they've said they'll move it again if there's no resolution.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the fact that they're not optimistic that anything would be resolved by September and they're already moving it to January, that seems a little ominous to me.
Yeah, no, it just seems like the start of the award season to me. I think if anything, you got to put those dates where everyone will come in. So I don't know. I don't look at this date and tie it to the negotiations. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, I hope you're right. I mean, it sounds reasonable when you say it. They're just, figuring it out. You can't just do the Emmys on one day notice. You do need to. There's a lot of vendors and a lot of workers involved. So hopefully that's right, and we will see a quick resolution because I don't want to see writers bleeding out, and I sure don't want to bleed out. I mean, as a member of SAG. So yeah, I hope that we don't get that Greg Abbott spirit hovering over these negotiations.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, it's we were talking about sort of the labor disputes a couple weeks back, and you look at the industries and you look at sort of the transformative companies or technologies that are impacting those industries, and you combine that with the economy after COVID, the inflation, and you see this pressure on people's ability to make money. And, I think in this realm, you've got to fight for what you can make, because, those that are paying aren't going to pay you. They're never going to pay you what you think you are worth. And so you got to hold the line, and hopefully, in these industries, obviously they're organized enough to speak as a group. But,
yeah. I think that the actors posting checks, those residual checks, to show that, not all actors are rich like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Most, in fact, 98% struggle to even make the poverty line, and posting those tiny checks, it is helping people to understand what's at stake. And everybody is not, Kevin Costner. A lot of people that are in this business are really scraping by and literally working as waiters and things like that. I have a couple of those tiny checks, where the check itself was less than the stamp that it took to mail me the check.
Right.
And, that's my residual payment for some television work that I did. If you got to get by on that, when you're on strike, that can be tough. And we're already a couple months in for the writers. So, yeah, but at the same time, when people make these big contributions like The Rock did, it makes it a little easier because there is a strike fund for SAG-AFTRA and the WGA where people can get a little bit of help paying their bills so that they don't bleed out and go out on the street. And I think that people are really pretty strong in their solidarity. We've got news, traffic, and sports here, then continuing our conversation on what is going on the left coast. We've got, looks like a rent control measure on the ballot. And this really weird story I wanted to get your take on, Ed, about a drone and an insurance company, and the question of how much insurance companies can spy on you, the consumer. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A Senate committee is passing legislation to make AM radio available for free in the Every Vehicle Act. In a bipartisan vote, the bill received overwhelming support and now moved to the Commerce Committee onto the full Senate. The president of the National Association of Broadcasters say the legislation would allow AM radio to continue as the backbone of the nation's emergency alert system. The Mega Millions jackpot keeps on growing with no grand prize winner in Tuesday night's drawing. The game's top prize has now grown to at least $910 million ahead of tonight's drawing. The lump sum cash option is just over $464 million. The cost to play the game is $2 per ticket. And that's the latest. I'm Ree Harris on your home for 24/7 news, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Start saving on the road with Valero's 100 Days of Summer. Get fuel-saving snacks, swag, and more every day all summer long. Only with Valero Pay Plus. Download the app and start saving right now. Additional terms and conditions apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There are several key issues on the table for Bronny James after he was cleared by doctors Thursday to go home. LeBron's oldest child was in Cedars-Sinai Medical Center for 2.5 days after suffering a cardiac arrest on Monday. Despite improvement in Bronny's condition, doctors gave no indication of when the 18-year-old star can resume basketball activities. Bronny was participating in an off-season practice Monday with the USC basketball team when he collapsed. He was preparing to travel with USC on a European tour for games in Greece and Croatia. The team is scheduled to leave next week. Bronny's status for the trip is now uncertain. With Bronny enrolling at USC, school officials have been getting ready for a highly anticipated season for the men's basketball program. Bronny also has NIL deals waiting for him with a projected income of $5.9 million to $6.6 million. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, nonprofit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid. And we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar,
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Ed Sanders. Okay, Ed, I really did a terrible job describing what ES Advisors is. So can you do a better job, please? You would think after all these years I would know. Okay, go ahead.
I know. I'm a public affairs consultancy, and I focus on issues that I see as pertinent to the African American community. We try to either support or oppose potential legislation that could be being decided upon either locally or in Sacramento. So a lot of community organizing, a lot of education campaigns, but then sometimes a lot of them turn into electoral campaigns. So
yeah, and you've actually worked with actual politicians on. I feel like you've worked on just about every side of that political spectrum as a community organizer, working on legislation from the side of trying to enact or advocate that legislation, and also worked with electeds in office. So I feel like you've been on almost every side of this.
Inside out game.
Yeah. That's kind of dope.
I've had the good fortune to work in LA government. I've had the fortune to work with Karen Bass and John Perez when they were speakers of the state assembly. I've had a healthy career. I find myself, touching some issues that I'm really proud of, whether it's, raising the minimum wage in Los Angeles to $15, to pushing back the sale of menthol cigarettes in the state of California. I've had a fortunate career, and hopefully I've helped people make some money and live longer through it.
I mean, I always feel like it's, amazing when you can earn a living doing things that you already really believe in. To me, that's the sweet spot. In many cases, I've worked for years on an issue or supported a candidate that I believe in, just on a volunteer basis. I'm constantly doing community organization work, emceeing and different things just for free because I believe in it. And then sometimes, folks come up with some money and they hire you to do that. And that's, that to me is a sweet spot because you're doing what you would have already probably done without a check, and they're able to hire you for your services.
You know what? I realized we connected about 20 years ago, really about this point in the summer.
Yeah.
On a project in Baldwin Village, we called it Summer of Success. And to your point about the value of the work, if I remember correctly, the murder rate in Baldwin Village a couple of years prior to our programming had been sky high. And, we worked with then Councilmember Martin Ludlow and the California Endowment to put programming at the parks through the night, deep into the night, which I think we're proud to say no murders that particular summer.
Yeah, it was actually two summers, right? That we did that.
Exactly.
That was, and that was actually when I think Karen Bass was still at Community Coalition. Yeah, because I remember we had a board meeting. I was on the board of COCO for many years. And she said, I know who can, run this program on the ground. Let's get Dominique. She doesn't have a job. It was right after I got laid off from the Steve Harvey Morning Show. And, that was a great project. And it actually ended up being the foundation for what is now Summer Night Lights and the Grid program. Of course, Connie Rice was part of that, and so many people, Bruce Saito. But yeah, that's where I first met you. You were the mucky muck from City Hall coming to bug me when I was trying to work. You were the guy in the suit. Oh no, here he comes.
Yeah, we need more kids. We have we talked to enough people? Let's get the word out. No, that was a lot of fun, an impactful work, right? And, you mentioned Connie Rice and sort of Grid and, pay a little respect to Jim Brown, who passed earlier this summer.
Yeah, and Shell Dog, let's not forget him, and T. Rogers, who also passed. Bo Taylor was part of that. It was an important time, and that was, to me, that was a perfect example of what I was talking about, because I was part of the urban peace movement, the gang peace movement, for free for many years, putting them on the radio when everyone thought I was crazy and criminal for doing so. And then that urban peace movement becomes part of City Hall. And at that point, I start actually having a job doing it for a bit, and before I got back on the radio on another station. But also, that's happened to me so many times in my life. And, when you have a consulting, which now I'm doing some consulting too, you find yourself in that situation. I don't know how you manage it. It's a lot to manage. And some of the folks like you and I work together on Prop 16. Now, I've been volunteering forever for Black Lives Matter, and now I'm consulting with them somewhat on comms and, consulting with some other electeds on their presentation, like their press presentation, because you sit there for years and years watching folks and listening, and sometimes it's like, someone needs to tell them this.
Yeah, it's perspective, right? To your point about the urban piece, it there was such a time when so many people in South LA were just viewed as criminals, right? Like thugs and criminals, blah blah blah. That was the narrative. And, there's always been and will always be a group of us that respects us as our own community. And you got to have people that are constantly looking at it. And it's not just one issue. It's every issue. That's why this is so crazy, because you can sort of bounce from one thing to the next, to housing, to employment, to healthcare. So many things touch our daily lives.
Yeah, they sure do.
And it takes a lot to stay on top of it all, That's the other side of it. This society doesn't work without an informed electorate. And, it takes folks to individually read, listen to the radio, find their news. That's why this show is so important, because you try to distill down in digestible bites what's happening in the world and how it impacts people.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the ecosystem that we're in.
Yeah, but that's also the opposite of selling out, when you get to work on stuff you believe in. And for me, I'd rather work on stuff I believe in, and if I can't do that, I'd rather work a job that's just a regular menial job, because I can't be that girl that's out here stumping for Greg Abbott when just for a check. I can't do it. If I don't believe in the thing, like I believe in KBLA and what we're doing here, then I can do. I just doesn't work for me.
I was gonna be like, no, Omarosa, right?
Yeah, I can't be Omarosa. Sorry, Mr. De Satan. Anyway, so speaking of things could be on the ballot, public policy, we're going to, I guess, have a third shot at getting rent control statewide, or broadening rent control. Looks like Secretary of State Shirley Weber announced Wednesday that an initiative has qualified for the 2024 ballot, and that is it's called the Justice for Renters Initiative, that will broaden the places where we could enact rent control. And this failed last time, and I feel like we have to start talking about it now, because the reason that it failed is people were saying it's going to restrict landlords. There's going to automatically be rent control everywhere. And the idea is to allow cities and counties to add rent control or rent limits to their municipalities and their counties. It's not automatic. It means it's repealing Costa-Hawkins, so you can do this. Not that it automatically happens. So when we come forward at Sanders, I want to get your thoughts about this, because we are in a much greater crisis than we were last time this was on the ballot, in terms of the unhoused and the affordability of keeping a roof over one's head. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
The Youth Forward organization calls for a cannabis candy ban for products they say target children. I'm Maisha Cairo with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. Mid-July, a coalition of groups committed to raising awareness about cannabis products that look like candy called on Governor Newsom to enact a cannabis candy ban. Youth Forward, an organization working to shape cannabis policy, is leading the charge with a petition to direct tax revenues from marijuana into youth and community reinvestment programs. The Cannabis Candy Child Safety Act, Assembly Bill 1207, passed the Assembly with a 61-0 vote in May. The bill aims to prevent children from consuming cannabis products by regulating packaging and advertising. It is currently under review in the Senate Appropriations Committee. KBLA listeners, what are your thoughts on this one? Let us know on our social platforms on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580. Are you worried about your credit score? Well, look, you can rebuild it. There are lots of factors that go into determining your credit score, but one of the most effective ways to improve your score is to consistently pay your bills on time, over time. If you're forgetful about payments like me, try automating your bill payments. That way all your creditors get paid on time, and you'll have freed yourself of trying to remember. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from
from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
You are, and we are so grateful that you do. I'm talking with Ed Sanders of ES Advisors and sometime pundit on Fox Soul. Ed, I teed up this rent control story, and I should have mentioned last time in 2020 when it failed, and it failed badly. I think there was a lot of confusion. You know how Republicans twist stuff around so you think you're voting the opposite way you are, but also the governor didn't support rent control back then. So here's the question: will he support it? Is the third time the charm? And can we get people to understand what the heck they're voting on? Maybe the fact that it's called the Justice for Renters Initiative will help. What do you think?
Well, I two things. I mean, one, there is the issue and whether you want to see movement on the issue. And then two, there's the mechanism. I would say this, a ballot measure, I'm not a fan of the ballot measure process. I would prefer that the legislature act.
Right.
And let me throw this out there because, once you get something on the ballot in a ballot measure form, that is the law. That is, if it passes, how that measure is written is exactly how the law would be instituted. And what that does is it doesn't allow for communities across the state to weigh in as you would if it were a legislative act. And, a lot of times it sounds like you're addressing the issue, but there's some unforeseen or even foreseen, side effects to a ballot measure. And that my point on it is I hate that process. I wish the legislature would act.
And the other part of that is that a lot of time the big lobbyists of big companies, like we see with the fast food legislation, they jump in and they go take it to the courts and tie it up, like we saw with the flavored tobacco measure that you just finally got passed into law.
Yeah, it can be daunting to try to affect change, particularly on issues like this where that it is impacting people. I think the ballot measure will come forward. It'll be interesting to see who gets behind it and what are the elements. I haven't done a deep dive on it myself yet to give a thumbs up or down on it, but I opened it by saying that you have to also consider whether or not the vehicle is the way to do this. So I mean, like a ballot measure to me may be just forcing the hand of the legislature, because if it passes, there will be some fixes and needs that have to be in place, and the legislature will then have to act upon those. So it may move things along. So we'll see how momentum for it builds.
Okay, this may take more time than we have, but I think there was a story that didn't get a lot of notice, Ed. A California insurance company has dropped a homeowner, his insurance. He's been a customer for 15 years. He's never made a claim. His home is not in a fire zone, but they apparently had a drone fly over his property. They took pictures and they said it looked hazardous, that he had junk in the yard or whatever. First they said it was a drone, and then they changed their story and said it was just some pictures that it looked cluttered. To me, that's ominous. If insurance companies can spy on you like that and then just make a decision about your policy with you having no input, that seems really big brotherish.
It does. It's troubling to hear that they used that as. I guess I'm coming back and like, what is privacy, right? Like, if is your backyard private? You know what I mean? Like, do you feel like whatever's in my backyard is private? Meaning, like, if I'm in a high-rise apartment looking down into your apartment and I could see that clutter, am I not? You know what I mean? Like, should I not act upon it? Like, what if there was someone in danger back there? That, you know what I mean? Like, what is privacy? And we could sit here and draw these sort of scenarios all day.
What if there was someone in danger because you have so much garbage and old tires in your backyard? I mean, I understand what you're saying.
You never know what's in there.
Yeah, that's true, actually, and it's really disgusting. But no, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I would think you would have the expectation of privacy in your backyard. I mean, I don't know. It seems very. And then they backed off because they're not supposed to be taking pictures with the drone. So then they just call them aerial photographs and pretend like it wasn't a drone. And the guy admits that his backyard was junk filled. He calls himself a tinkerer. But to me, that is a very slippery slope. We flew a drone into your bedroom window and we noticed you were having unprotected sex. So we're dropping you from your health insurance. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But I mean, we see it all over the place. I mean, the drone aspect of it is the other side of it, right? Like, I think we also have an aversion to this new technology of drones and their capability. But, I mean, you'll see it like a celebrity wedding, you know, and we fly a drone over to take photos.
Yeah, it's super invasive. All right, Ed, when we come forward, I'm going to pass the mic to you. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. I'm always being bossy. Oh, wait, it's my show. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Another Friday morning flies by with you on the mic. Ed Sanders, what do you want to kind of round up the hour with today?
You know, it's hot. It's summertime. The heat wave always, you know, is there with summer. I hope folks are always taking care of themselves, getting enough water, that sort of thing. You know, it's also the time when kids are out of school and starting to get ready for the school year, and for us, our community, I think paying more attention to the impact that those COVID years had on young people and their education. There is a real gap that was caused by those years, and we have got to find ways to close that gap and strengthen our young people's educational prospects, especially given what the Supreme Court did this summer. And so finding ways to play a role in that is key for me over the coming years.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like, as parents, it puts even more pressure on us as the parents, whether you're a boy mom, girl dad, whatever. And it's already, I call it an educational arms race, where we have to have more, better schools and more programs for our kids and then more extracurriculars. And the Supreme Court decision, you're right, it ramps it up another notch.
Yeah, it's just, you find these ways or you see what direction that this country is starting to take. And, we've always got to react to that. And so, this weekend for me is important. You always reference me as a girl dad, but I'm also a proud father of a son. We're rooting him on here in Las Vegas at a basketball tournament this weekend.
Yay.
So we're gonna have some fun. Yeah.
Go Sanders Jr. Well, it's always fun to talk to you, Ed. You can follow him on Twitter, Edward M. Sanders, Sanders. While you're there, please hit up KBLA 1580. That's us, KBLA, like black without the C and the K. Then 1580, and of course me, DiPrima Radio, DIPRIMA Radio. Let's tweet about it. Ed, thank you.
Thanks, Dominique. See you soon.
News, traffic, and sports, and then you. Call me, 800-920-1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.